I'll do the invocation and pledge, but I would appreciate it if you'd look at the rules of decorum before we get started. Mr. Smith, do you mind leading us in the invocation and the pledge?
Father, heaven, thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for the blessings of the day. Pray that you'll be with us in this meeting tonight. Be with our board of supervisors to make decisions. Thank you for all that they do. Thank you for the ones that have shown up. Be with us through this rainstorm. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I would at this point entertain a motion to approve or amend this consent agenda, excuse me.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. Okay, at this point, I would entertain a motion to go into public hearing. The public hearing is to receive public comment on the proposed changes to the Grayson County fee schedule for the solid waste disposal and collection ordinance. Residential unit rate currently is $18 a month, proposed change to $20 a month, and the seasonal rates for recreational vehicles is currently $3 a month, and the proposed change is $20 a month. At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Take that, Ms. Linda?
No, I heard all the yes.
Okay.
I'll say.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. We have no speakers. Is there any? I would entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, do we need to discuss this before we come out, or do we come out then discuss it before we vote?
This is discuss it right now.
Okay. I think
You've got another chance to discuss it after we vote on it, before we vote.
before we vote, okay. That's all I have. If we're gonna come out, then discuss it.
There's another chance to discuss it
Okay,
before we vote.
Yeah, because we need to discuss it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to come out of public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm also aye. Okay, so an action, adoption or approval is required at this point. So I would entertain a motion to either adopt, approve, or not adopt and not approve.
Okay, I would make a motion that we not adopt, and I don't know if we were clear in our last time we discussed this, but we were going to be the same fee for everyone on the trash, and we still have the recreational. I'm trying to find it here, so bear with me. They're all not the same, in other words. There we go.
The proposed adoption of Supervisor Anderson is to put everybody at $20 a month, even recreational vehicles.
Well, we have the seasonal rental, the $12. I guess that's what they're, seasonal rentals at 12. Why are they not at 20 like the others? And I think we did touch on that with Lou in our last time it's come up in the discussion, because we have citizens all across the county that probably have various seasons that they don't take their trash out.
Yeah, I believe this is for the Airbnbs, for transient occupancy tax. It has a little note in there about it. And I think I mentioned last time that I thought it should be all the same. So I don't know if that
That's what I thought we were doing.
I guess my question is for staff is was there just confusion on that, or how did we get to that?
What I heard was the recreational, which we had one rate, we have one vehicle in the recreation temporary rate and 133 under recreation. And what I thought I heard was we wanted the recreational to be all the same. And so that's what was advertised, was that all recreation vehicles are, went from.
I think the question is, that the seasonal rate is still only at $12. And I believe, if the board correct me if I'm wrong, what we tried to accomplish at last meeting was to make it everything equal. And the seasonal rental, if it's Airbnb, well, I guess maybe if staff could explain what seasonal rental is, because it's my understanding if you have a home in the county, you pay for trash pickup whether you're living in the house or not.
The residential rate.
Well, even if you own multiple houses and there's nobody living in them, you're still charged that.
Still charge that rate unless it's empty for 3 years, and then you can apply for the relief.
And the relief is the seasonal rental.
The relief is the full rate.
Relief, I think relief is, you don't have to pay, if you don't live in, you prove you didn't live here, or you're not for 3 years, you don't pay anything if it's not somebody living there. Yeah, I don't think it's the same as what we're talking here on the season.
So are we still looking at 3 different rates in the county? $20 for recreational vehicles, $20 for houses, and $12 for seasonal rentals?
My understanding, we was gonna be one rate for residential. The trans off, that Tracy and him take care of, are we even doing that anymore?
The trains off.
The transit.
Oh, yeah, that's the discounted trash rate.
The discounted trash rate, I thought, okay,
According to our packet, we are.
I thought, okay.
Yeah, I just don't understand why, if you're making income off of a house, why you should get paid less of a trash rate.
I think just what I've read.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't here when we started the trans occupancy tax, but it was to encourage people to come in and pay the taxes. Whereas now from a trans occupancy tax, 90+%, I think 95% of what we collect, it comes from a third party vendor. So it comes from an Airbnb, VRBO. So I don't know if there's some, one person out here or just 1 or 2 people left that are not, they've still incentivized them by doing this. I'm not sure. I don't know about that.
You're exactly, that's the way it started out.
Yeah.
As an incentive.
Yeah.
But you're correct now, man, so much I was thinking here, all the Airbnb, VRBO, or whatever, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, could we just amend this to where we don't even have a seasonal rate? That it just everybody, if you have a house, you pay the residential rate?
It's a solid waste ordinance, right? Yep. We can amend it however we would choose to.
I don't believe we can after we post it.
We'll have to go through this one more time.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you're right.
All right, at this point, I would entertain a motion to make all trash fee collections the same amount all the way across the board.
Do we have a motion on the floor already?
Oh, yes,
we
we
need
do.
to put the bid. So,
No, we don't have a motion.
okay, I thought I made a motion.
Supervisor Anderson made a motion to not adopt, and then we started.
And then we started a discussion. I didn't get a second, did I?
Not adopted.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Yeah, not adopt and amend it to every.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I would now entertain a motion for staff to go back and make the solid waste fees the same number all the way across the board for everybody.
I'm not sure, does that, with the tax, with the relief, I don't know if that will mess that up.
So moved on the motion that was suggested. My mind just went blank, I'm sorry.
Well, it doesn't have to be that motion, but we have to have something to put this back in the,
Yeah, my mind just went
to
blank.
post it again.
Second,
All right, I have motion second, any discussion?
I just want to be clear, this doesn't affect the folks that get the relief. The veterans, just the same rate across the board.
Are there any questions, Mr. Boyer? Was that motion clear enough, or do we need to restate the motion?
What's that? I think we understand the intent of the board, and we can make sure that that's taken care of for the advertisement and for the next meeting.
All right, we have a motion and a second, no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Bring us to reports, presentations, or requests. Mr. Jason Busick, the Galax Grayson EMS Chief, thanks for coming tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I promise I'll be quick about this. Just wanted to come and formally say thank you for the support that Grayson County has gave us for Galax Grayson EMS over the years. And I apologize for not coming sooner. I just feel like we should come and say thank you for what you do for us. Like I said, we are the primary response for Old Town and Fairview district of the county. So, like I said, just wanted to come and say thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments, questions? Thank you for coming. We appreciate what you do for the eastern end of our county.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Moving on, we have no old business. Brings some new business. This was originally in the consent agenda, and we requested to have this pulled out. The true up appropriation, Grayson County Public Schools, Mr. Boyer, can you give us some answers on that?
Yes, sir. So the school sent up their true up appropriation for this year, and catch me if I missed anything, okay? So
This past year,
I mean, it's past year.
fiscal year 24.
I apologize. The biggest chunk of it was from the governor's budget to combat the learning loss in Virginia due to COVID. They provided $790,065 in November to be used in FY 24, 25, and 26. The school received a community grant that also covered the tutors and additional for that actual initiative. And they decided to use the all-in money for 25 and 26. So that $790,000 is from the state budget, that is our state funding that will roll over to next fiscal year. So that's the largest chunk of it. The Department of Education dropped money for security equipment on June 30th for the purpose of 2024. And this was $75,000. So for some security equipment for the school was $75,000. So that takes you to roughly $860. And then there was money for the head nurse that they received in fiscal 23. And they have extended that grant year after year. And this is going to be rolled into 2025. So that was $53,000. So that's a total amount of $890+ thousand that's going to be rolled over for fiscal year 25.
Yes, sir.
I know, I don't know if y'all may have got additional documentation other than what we got in our packet, but I noticed on this largest grant that it said that there needs to be a completion of a division spending plan and signed off on with the application. Do we know that that document has been signed for the actual, to obtain the actual grant?
I couldn't hear you, sir, I'm sorry. On the link you're talking
I'm
about?
sorry, yeah, on this first grant on that comes from the governor's office. It was to be a grant and signed off by the superintendent. Do we know that they did all our documentation and that's in? Did they send you anything?
They didn't say anything. I would assume they did, but we can check on that for you and get back to you.
I just, it's something that, that we weren't gonna be, coughing it up later on ourselves. That's just what I want, make sure that all that paperwork has been done. Which I'm sure it has. But just curious. Mr. Anderson?
No.
Okay. You have anything? Staff have anything in?
No, sir.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Flat Ridge Community Center. Mr. Gordon?
You'll need to approve the true up appropriation. You'll need a motion to approve that.
Let me just go back a second then. Nikki, thank you. This time, I would entertain a motion to approve the true up appropriation. So moved. Second. I have a motion, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say
I'd be, as contingent, that everything been signed and turned in.
so noted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm also aye. Then move on to the Flat Ridge Community Center, Mr. Board.
Sir, Mr. Cornett brought this up as a discussion point for the board. We currently have an agreement with Flat Ridge. It's a 25-year agreement, expires in 2028. And basically they're responsible for maintenance of the school. Mitch has told me that in the past, we have provided things like a roof. Is that correct?
Yes.
A roof. I think they recently worked on some of the propane tanks and some other facility issues there. There's been discussion from the board and the community about potentially moving the county and giving the property to the community there. I think they are a robust community, and so Mr. Burnett want to talk about that with the board. So I'll continue.
Yeah, the folks with Flat Ridge Community Center contacted me about getting the deed over to them. And they said, I think a new heating system, have you talked to them about it? I think they're getting ready to have to put in a new heating system and do some other work. And they spent a whole lot of time and work and money that they raised putting into the community center there. And they just kind of like to own it themselves. And it seems like they've done a really good job saving the county money, us not having to maintain that building, and they do a really good job. Have a meal every Saturday night, entertainment, etc. So I would personally like to see this done.
So what actions would we need to take to make that happen?
I would say we would need a motion from the board to have staff work on with the community center incorporated, develop an agreement where we would turn it over to them and they would be wholly responsible for that. If that's what you wish us to do.
The other thing is, I would like to see it. I'm not sure if we would do this or not typically, but I know we gave some property tax relief for other folks. I'd like to see that done here too if we could. And
How many acres is with that? Is it 2?
I think it may be more than that. I know we looked it up a while back. Was it 4 or 5?
I have the agreement here. I don't have that. We're 20 plus years into this agreement. I think 22.
Yeah, and their concern when they were talking to me was that the agreement's coming up, running out. We're gonna need to do a lot of work that's gonna take a good bit of money and gonna last in the future. We don't want the county to come in after we spend all this money, do all this work, come in and sell it out from under us or something like that.
I think the interesting piece is, I guess it won't be the county's responsibility, but what happens if they dissolve? And then what happens then? That's school. What do you guys from those?
I think there's several properties in Grayson County that Grayson County's paying to maintain that it would be nice to get off of our asset list. I certainly have no opposition to this, but I don't think we can just wave a wand tonight and say, boom, and sure as I'm quite certain there's procedures that the county has to go through in order to give property to things. So I guess at this point, I would entertain a motion for staff to look into the procedure for gifting property to local community organizations.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm also aye. County Administrator's Report, brevity is nice.
Yes, sir. So if you haven't seen the road from 58 to the park is well underway. I think they're doing really nice work there. Jay and I talked about signage and working with Google Maps on making sure people will get the new directions. So we're working on that. The Louisville Lane RFP was in the paper this Wednesday. So if you haven't seen it, the RFP's out for Louisville Lane. August is Clean River Month. Linda is posted, have you posted scheduled activities on Facebook? So Linda's posted scheduled activities on Facebook for Clean River Month. If you want a copy of those, I certainly have them in my office. On August 7th, there were 200 tourism professionals at Whitfield Meeting Center, and Grayson Tourism won the best social media campaign for Southwest Virginia. Trout Dog Days starts August 10th. I have a flyer here if anybody is interested in that. Also in your packets is the Mount Rogers Cigarette Tax Board, which we are currently a part of, but we have not put into effect. If you have interest in the numbers, what that looks like, a rough estimation would be something similar to Saltville, which is about $75,000 for you if you'd like to look at that. Ag Fair kicks off this today and is in tomorrow and Saturday. And I know I'm in the ducking booth on Saturday. I think Mr. Ivy is as well. Anybody else want to come join? That'd be great. There's a ribbon cutting for the pharmacy.
All right.
Because you probably told me.
There's a ribbon cutting for the pharmacy for Tri-Area Healthcare and Freeze tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Okay. And Mark Williams from VDOT let us know that Lost Lake Road is eligible to be added to the secondary 6-year plan. He let Robert and Bonnie Pauly know. And so if it comes up next year, it is eligible. Lost Lake Road is eligible. That's all I got, sir.
We just gonna make a lot of money from it.
You fixed it already?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boyer, for that. We have no registered speakers, no public comment has signed up. Just to make sure, does anyone here want to speak? Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
We did
sir.
have childcare on there. You potentially want to talk about childcare.
I forgot. Forgive me. I had a check beside it. And me too. So I serve on the board of BSS, and one of the big things that issues that they have is childcare. We've talked about it as a county before to make it a priority with our ARPA spending, and I kind of feel like there's nobody really knows who's taking the lead, if anybody's taking the lead, but I personally think it should be a priority in the county. And talking in the DSS board, I think the comment was made that, child care is a terrible business model. And that may very well be the case, but so is picking up garbage. And there's a lot of people in this county who struggle with child care. And to me, I feel like it's an economic development issue. If we're going to attract young folks here, or we're going to keep our young folks here, then I think we need to at least be looking at childcare. I don't think the county needs to be in the business of having childcare. and running childcare, but I think that we need to be a part of the solution. And I have no idea what that looks like. But I think we need to look at letting someone take the lead on this. And in my personal opinion, I think it's the EDA.
I can see how that would fit the EDA as far as, people working and needing that service. My question is more of a general, like, what are the parameters for EDA? What makes something legitimate for EDA or is there any parameters?
And there certainly are, if you're talking about parameters around childcare, you're talking about assisting somebody with a business.
Yeah, because we're specifically, it would be assisting them with the business. It wouldn't be like the nuts and bolts of how they do it or like getting the grant.
Well, there's quite a bit of money out there, and DSS is aware of a lot of these routes that you can go down. We discussed at length, like, you got to have somebody who wants to do it. And then there has to be a business environment that's attractive for them to do it. And then where you go from there, I don't know. But it seems like for at least 2.5 years, we've been talking about how childcare is an issue in the county. I agree it's an issue in the county, but it doesn't seem like anything's even getting talked about. And unless we appoint somebody or some group to make it a priority, it's never going to move forward. And, I don't think that it should be a service that the county provides. I'm not saying that, but the county can certainly help with the conversation going forward of what it might look like. I mean, we're giving away a facility in Flat Ridge, and there's other properties that the county owns that, we might could give that away to somebody who has a good plan to solve one of our issues in the county. So anyway, it doesn't require a motion. It doesn't require anything like that, but I would like the staff to maybe talk to the EDA to see if that's something that they're willing to take on. And if not, maybe help us figure out a solution to who might take the point on this.
Yeah, so if it's not EDA, maybe we need to look at some kind of committee or something that could help. If they, because I guess the thing, the EDA pretty much, other than what we provide them in funding and who we appoint, they do whatever. So are we wanting to recruit maybe? Or?
I don't know what it looks like, Mr. Anderson. It's a need that's not being addressed. And if it is, it's being discussed a lot, but it's not being addressed.
Okay. I know the United Way may have took a lot of the legwork out of it because they were compiling figures and everything. So you think a committee or whichever route to choose, they may have some.
Okay, how about this for an action item is that I'll touch base with United Way this next week and touch base with Carroll, Wellspring, and just try to explore what our options are for EDA. And if the county wants to somehow engage further in this, then I'll provide options that route as well.
Everybody go with that? Okay. All right, got us a little backwards. Anybody requesting Board of Supervisors time?
Can I just make a comment? Not really time. I just want to say thanks to our EMS and emergency services in the county. My family just recently used them and they done a great job. They always do. You just don't realize it until it's you. So I just want to say hats off to them people.
All right, at this point, I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 2.2-3711A1 of the Code, Virginia, involving staff.
So
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm also aye. Shannon, would you like for us to come get you